It's always a delight to have you join us on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio, where we engage the newsmakers, the principalities and powers in the political sector, not just in Edo State, but across the country, to help you make sense of issues and policies that will help you to have a good understanding and form the right public opinion. Without wasting time, we'll go straight into our conversation today on the program, looking at the policy thrust of the present administration led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in terms of the impact of governance. That's key because the feelings in some quarters is that since this new administration came on board, life has become harsh, life has become hard, things have become difficult, the ordinary man can't feed, inflation is at the rooftop, and it doesn't look like there is any end in sight. To make that worrisome, we're seeing government carrying out activities that should have been tailored to other direction. Or are there other things that they are doing that people are not feeling? Or is there any lacuna in the chain in terms of the federal, state, and local government, why these things are not being felt at the grassroots level? These are some of the questions we'll be asking in the next few minutes. I have the honor and privilege to have in the studio the national woman leader of the APC, Dr. Mary Idili Alile, Mrs., and a delectable lady and who's been given that thrust of leadership. So our very own is here. Many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Kosu. Thank you for having me.
Let's go right into the major thrust of this conversation. People have said that the emergence of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is a continuum of the years of President Muhammadu Buhari, against the background of some of the realities on the ground in terms of policies, in terms of projects, in terms of programs, and how this government is impacting the lives of the people. What are your thoughts?
Thank you very much, Mr. Kosu, for having me here. My thoughts is quite simple. His Excellency, the President of this great country, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is barely a year in government. And in that 1 year, we can categorically state and see the improvement of Nigeria so far. We can see the programs, we can see the things that have been put down right from the top that is supposed to cascade down to our different states. Now, government, it's not a place of magic. Now, you rightly said that there was we transited from the government of His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari straight to the current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, regardless of the political party that was there before, a lot of things were inherited. We must be factual. There was a lot of things that were inherited from the previous government to this government. Now, any government will see that when you come into power, you need to sit down and look at where are we, what do we have on ground, what did we do before, where do we start from? And I must say that His Excellency, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, hit the ground running. Hit the ground running by, first of all, introducing the Renewed Hope agenda. Now, as a woman in this country, I am excited just hearing about the Renewed Hope agenda, because that tells me that, okay, my hope is not lost. The Englishman says when there is life, there is hope. That tells me that my hope is not lost. That tells me that everything that has to do with governance is encompassed, is into that Renewed Hope agenda. Now, Renewed Hope agenda for whom? Renewed Hope agenda for the man, for the woman, for the child. renewed hope agenda for even the Nigerians that are in diaspora. Now, a lot of things, a lot of programs, agricultural programs, social infrastructures, a lot of things have been done and cascaded down to our different states. Now we'll now take it from the state. What are the states doing in order to ensure that these programs, in order to ensure that this project get down to the common woman in the village, in order to ensure that this project gets down to the girl child, to the boys, to the youth? What is the state doing? Because we cannot continually sit down and say, well, the president, well, Mr. President, what are you doing? Well, Mr. President, what are you doing? That is not it, because it's doing everything to ensure that the country, our beloved country, Nigeria, is on the map. Our beloved country, Nigeria, is on the map in the world. And I can tell you, just 1 second, Mr. Koson, I can tell you that if we look at the things that he has done under 1 year, I can tell you that I don't think there is any precedent in this country since 1960 that have achieved what he has achieved.
Exactly, specifically, tangible, feelable things that Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done that has made him so outstanding, comparable to all of these other presidents that we had, against the background that there are those who say that renewed hope agenda is renewed hopelessness for the people, because a bag of rice goes for about 100,000 naira or more. Gary is on the rise. I mean, the basic things that the ordinary man on the streets requires to live on, they are unaffordable. Okay, they are not accessible. Let me just stop what specifically?
So, let me just, because you gave an example, let me go with your example.
Yes.
You just said a bag of rice is 100,000 naira. Now, with the Renewed Hope Initiative, you knew that every government, for example, and I'm going to give you an example, every state governor got these bags of rice transported to their state to deliver to the people. Now, let's ask questions. Where is the one for Edo State? Are we going to point the finger back to the president?
No, you tell me, where is it?
No, I'm asking you.
No, you shouldn't ask me, because you are the one telling us the bags of rice.
It's already come down to the state.
So
no, of course we should ask the governor. Let's ask our governor. Let's ask His Excellency, the Governor Baseki. Okay. Where is the rice for Edo State? There are a lot of things. Now let's talk about, if you want to talk about things that have happened and we're looking at where is the feedback. Now, for example, there was an 18 billion that was given to this state from the federal government for the reconstruction of the federal roads that was done by His Excellency, the former governor of Edo State, His Excellency Comrade Oshomole. Now, where is the money? And now, where are the roads? Where are the roads that were constructed? So, the fact that this money has been released, again, let me give you another example. 24 billion of the Paris Fund was released, Mr. Kosun. Now, again, let's ask Mr. Governor of Edo State.
So, if you said 18 billion naira was used by the government of Comrade Adams Oshomole on roads, that money has been returned to the state. Which road exactly? Is it the Benin Sapele Road, or the Benin Agbo Road, or the Benin Ekpoma Road that has been comatose since
the federal roads?
Yes, I'm talking about the federal roads.
Federal roads.
Yes.
Money was released for the reconstruction of these federal roads. We all know the state of the federal roads in Edo. We don't even want to go there, because we are all flying across, because nobody wants to take the roads. Now, this money was released by the federal government for the reconstruction of all these federal roads. But again, as we sit here, we know that the federal roads are in a state of no return. So what happened to the money? So are we going to go back to His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu to say, oh, the federal roads are not being done? No, we need to point our fingers to where we're supposed to be pointing it, because this money came into Edo State. Where is the money? Why is the federal road still looking the way it is? I just talked about the Paris Fund, which was 22 billion or 24 billion thereabout. It went to all states. Check Google, it's all there. So what did Edo State in particular, since we are sitting in Edo State and we are talking about politics today, what did our governor, this current sitting governor, what did he do with the money? Because we can't see anything happening. So rather than pointing fingers back to the presidency and saying that the government of the day is not doing anything. But the money is coming in. So we should look at the government of each particular state and ask them, what are you doing with the funding that you are getting from the federal government?
Life became unbearable.
Hold on.
Yes.
Because there are some states, Mr. Okosun, where you go there and you see transformation, infrastructures, things are moving on well. And then you go to other states and you are thinking, what happened in this place? So you talked about food. You talked about food, for example. Now, I knew, you know, as a media person, that there was this palliative that was released across the 36 states, including FCT. Where are the ones for the states? Let me not mention a name of a particular state. I knew that there was some, when these bags of palliative rice went to a particular state in this country, and then instead of the governor or the sitting governor to distribute this palliative to the people, it was hoarded and kept in a place and waited until it was time for election. And then they were now using it for vote for us, we'll give you a bag of rice. What on earth? So we can't go back to the presidency or go back to His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu to say, oh, you are not doing anything. He is doing it, but we need to point our fingers. We need to ask the right questions, the correct questions. As far as I'm concerned, the renewed hope agenda has put a smile in a lot of people's face. But again, we still have some individuals, some selfish individuals, if I should rephrase it, that decide to hoard these things, that decide to keep it to themselves.
People say life became more meaningless for Nigerians when the president announced the removal of fuel subsidy. From that time up till now, and even going forward, life has not remained the same for Nigerians. And there's this back and forth about fuel subsidy. The Buhari administration told Nigerians there was nothing like fuel subsidy before they came. And eventually they came on board, they started paying fuel subsidy. The present government also told us no fuel subsidy. Fuel subsidy has been removed. But we have seen again that petrol queues are coming back to the filling station on the grounds that even while they told everybody no fuel subsidy or fuel subsidy has been removed, they were actually secretly paying for fuel subsidy. And now fuel has gone up. It's been at rooftop, and the masses are suffering. What do you say about this kind of...
As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Kosun, fuel subsidy, if His Excellency, the President of this country said fuel subsidy have been removed, we will stand by that to say that no fuel subsidy have been removed. Now, if there are a couple of cabal that decide to sit down and do otherwise, like I was just saying. So how do we now continue to point our finger at the government when we have some certain people that are making life unbearable for the majority?
Whose responsibility to take care of those people? Now,
the responsibility, again, lies on our individuality. We cannot, there's something in Christianity that is called irresponsible faith. Doing the things you don't expect, instead of you to do the things you need to do, you want God to come and do it for you. It becomes an irresponsible faith. Now, if His Excellency have said fuel subsidy is removed, then we need, the government itself needs to be looking at the individuals that are making life unbearable for the citizens of Nigeria. We cannot, it's not magic. Governance is not magic. Now, since His Excellency came in on board as the president of this country, yes, I agree that a lot of things were inherited by the former administration, and things need to be put in place. And honestly, I can tell you that His Excellency hit the ground running. The First Lady of this state hit the ground running. There's been a lot of relief measures, things that have been put in place to ensure that people of this country are getting the right care.
But people are not feeling these relief measures. Yes. Why can't we feel them to the point that we can talk about them freely?
Another thing, Mr. Okosun, is that governance, as you know, it's not magic. It's not a magic wand. You just, throw the wand and then it happens. We all know about the developed world. Things are done in process. The things that people enjoy today in the developed country were laid. They were foundations that were laid generations ago. And I'm telling you that in those times when those people were laying the foundation, they were saying exactly what you're saying now. Oh, it's not happening. It's supposed to happen like like now. No, we need to lay foundation. And of course, we need to start building on those foundations. But however, what we need to do is to ensure that the right person is in place in any of our parastatals so that we gradually, genuinely kill the idea of cabal, because it does exist.
Are you concerned about the pangs of corruption that has rocked the present administration, beginning with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and then other sectors of this government? Are you concerned about that?
Now, of course, as a citizen of this country, I must be concerned when we have where we don't have transparency. Now, for any government to succeed and to have the heart of the people, there must be a form of transparency so that people are able to follow. People are able to say, okay, that's what happened and that's not what happened. Now, with regards to the level of corruption, every country has its own. There is no country, Mr. Kosun, in this world that corruption does not exist. We know that. But it's now in different level and in different classes and in different grades. Now, what happened, because you mentioned the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, what happened in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, it's not a good representation of my gender, but I know that there is no country without corruption. What we need to do is to reduce the level of corruption to the bare minimum. Corruption does not only exist in Nigeria. When people say, oh, Nigeria, there's corruption. No, there's corruption all over the world. In the United Kingdom, in the United States, of course there's corruption everywhere. But it's just for us to ensure that corruption is brought to a bare minimum. Now, everything that happened with regards to the humanitarian affair and so on and so forth. You saw the way His Excellency, the President, moved swiftly to ensure that that is being taken care of, to ensure that he put a stop to that. Now, that is governance, and that is governance at its best, because he could just easily say, oh, well, let's give the person a pat at the back and then let's live as usual. But he didn't do that. He stepped in immediately. Within 48 hours, actions were taken. Nigerians were happy to ensure that somebody that we've said, okay, this is, of course, we need to also wait to see what the court says. But he stepped in, and that is something that is called transparency in government.